They didn't give up, and neither should we. Hi, I'm Laura Kumin, author of All Stirred Up, Suffrage Cookbooks, Food, and the Battle for Women's Right to Vote. What does suffrage mean for us today? My answer has two parts.
First, by putting the 19th Amendment into the Constitution, the suffragists ended the question as to whether women have the right to vote. We do have the right. That is no longer debatable. Second, the suffragists created what historian Thomas Cahill calls a hinge in history. They opened the door to a host of changes, and once that door was open, there was no going back. On that first point, the right to vote is still an issue, just not on the basis of sex. Women are no longer denied the right to vote simply because they are women, but unfortunately, the days of voter suppression are still with us. The suffragists did not give up, and we shouldn't either. The right to vote is fundamental to our democracy. It is a right that every citizen ought to be able to exercise freely and without fear. The second part of the meaning of suffrage is all about the change that women brought to elections, politics, and society after the 19th Amendment. Women now vote at higher rates than men, and there are women throughout our government. Although we have not yet had a woman president, that day is not only possible, it now seems inevitable. Besides, the presidency is not the only measure of women's progress. Looking at women in Congress, in state legislatures, in the judiciary, and in the executive branches of government at every level, women are a force to be reckoned with. From the first female Speaker of the House of Representatives to mayors of large U.S. cities, women are inside the halls of power. It used to be that a woman got elected to office only as a placeholder when her husband was an office holder and he died. That is no longer true. Now women are fierce political competitors. They get into office on their own, sometimes by defeating men who had served for decades. Elizabeth Holtzman did it in the 1970s, and Nydia Velasquez did the same thing 20 years later. We've even had two women run against each other as the majority party candidates for a Senate seat, Kristen Sinema and Martha McSally. And a man, Mark Kelly, has now run for office after his wife, Gabby Giffords, could no longer serve. In All Stirred Up, you'll find out more about what suffrage means to us today. Then join me in celebrating suffrage with a treat from the book, maybe mahogany cake from the Washington Women's Cookbook.
And don't forget, the best way to celebrate suffrage is to vote in every election.